Hey, this is Sam Black with my fourth match with Abzan Procession in Standard. I have what I'll call a keepable hand here. That's not great, but I have some spells I can cast. It's really all that can be said for it, but I'm not terribly picky. Alright, we get to play against zombies. This is another interesting match. Crypt Breaker is extremely important. I'm just going to kill it immediately in case my opponent has one of those hands where they actually want to discard a card, which is not common, but there's no reason to take the chance. That was a pretty good draw. This is an interesting card. I wonder if my opponent is playing... my opponent is clearly not mono black zombies. I wonder if their deck is something totally different. Or if they're just splashing blue. I've seen Gisette and Geralf with Prized Amalgam as a blue splash in a otherwise fairly normal looking zombie shell. But this could also be like an emerge deck. Oh, looks like it's a zombie deck primarily. Okay, that was a good draw. Yep, normal zombie stuff with a Choke Testuary. I wonder if they're sideboarding Negate. Pretty sure that's good given the setup that I have here. I don't think I want to block this turn. I think I'm just trying to build up creatures so that I can block next turn. Depending on what my opponent does, I need to evaluate whether I can protect Gideon or whether I just want an emblem. But the hope is to be able to use Gideon to make knights and then protect Gideon. Oh, pretty tempting to block this Mimic. Alright, so I'm not going to have quite as many blockers as I might like. Wonder if I need to Anointer Priest instead of Gideon this turn. Seems likely. That makes some blockers and lets me scry quite a bit more. It's probably good. Menace? Sure. I didn't really want to block anyway. I'll just take it all. Dark Salvation, one of my priests, which is a lot of life loss for me. Sack the sign to pay for Gideon to trigger stockpile. 0 to make some blockers and gain some life. Hidden stockpile will make some more blockers and gain some more life. We're back to almost where we were last turn in life, but now with way more blockers. And my blockers can trade, which can trigger Catacomb Sifter, which can let me find, ideally, another procession. Yep, you got Menace. They're all attacking me. Barely even have to work for it if I don't want to. I really don't care much about them hitting me. This seems fine. Hidden stockpile is pretty good, but I still have a lot of scries. I'm going to look for a procession. Only 2 more scries after this if I don't lose anything. Might just settle for stockpile. This is actually pretty good, since I can just go emblem, emblem, attack with everything. Speaking of, I can probably attack with a bunch of stuff here. Okay, so my opponent has 2, 4, 6 blockers. I have, let's see, 6 things get blocked. 2, 4, 6, 7 things get through. 7 times 3 is 21. Emblem. Emblem. Bang. My opponent can have a fatal push here, but they still take 18. Okay, so let's bring in Fumigate, Declaration, Dusk Dawns. I think I want 1 Anguished Unmaking to be able to answer Ormondal. I think I can trim Gideon, trim Cat. I'd been bringing in Grasp, which feels like it should be good, but I'm not actually sure that it is. Because I kind of need enough stuff from my deck to do its thing. Plus I kind of like not needing to have double black mana. And I'm bringing in a bunch of other removal. Let's try this. I felt like all Cat is not enough power and all Gideon's too slow, so trying a mix. with Dusk Dawn and Fumigate, this is like kind of a lot of top end, but the matchup can get pretty grindy like that last game was, so a lot of top end's not necessarily bad. Yeah, Sand doesn't do much, but it lets me experiment with Fumigate. And this is what I was saying about how I can just have hands that are a little too removal heavy, which I don't always want. Like Fumigate and Dusk Dawn are a lot worse if you just have a bunch of other removal as the only stuff you're doing. I don't think I'm going to want to cycle this with this hand, so I'll just play it. Relentless Dead can actually be fairly annoying. I'm tempted to just push it, since I have answers to other things. I don't want it getting something back when I Fumigate. Yeah, I'm just gonna kill it. Fine, you can have it. I think this works out. Yep. So I think I just jump block this so that I can cast Fumigate here with the Eldrazi Scion and keep Gideon. Plays a Dreadwander from hand and can return another one from the graveyard, but I can block Dreadwander pretty easily. The Lord of the Accursed, sure. get rid of this, I can start attacking. I think that's fine. Now the question is, do I want to attack with Gideon, or do I want to make another knight? I think I want to attack. Can I afford to attack with another knight? It means that a removal spell lets my opponent kill Gideon. I'll just hold it back. That's fine, my opponent doesn't have enough mana to be grinding those things. I have nothing. Interesting. Brought in Scrounger. I'm a bit worried about my opponent drawing a removal spell. If they don't block, no, just Gideon. Particularly since Shambling Vent is about to make attacking Gideon harder for my opponent, so I'm more favored going long, so just protecting Gideon is relatively more valuable. Yeah, we'll trade a knight. You spend a mana on a creature. Or 2 mana on a creature. That's not great for me. Kind of makes me want to get considerably more aggressive. This game really highlighted why I didn't want Grasp. My opponent just has a bunch of recursive threats and some card advantage, and I had a bunch of removal and then not quite enough pressure to easily close the game. So if like another business spell was another reactive spell, it might be a problem for me. Here I think I just let the Scrounger get a hit on Gideon. Since I'm not really looking to emblem. Okay, so that's an interesting one. I think I just used Fatal Push defensively to save Gideon. Respectable. Now we're in an interesting spot. What does my opponent attack with? Three creatures on Gideon. Well, that'll do it. That will kill Gideon. I should have blocked with an Winter Priest so that I could Fatal Push Lord of the Accursed. I'm just gonna draw. Alright. Fatal Push this. I guess I can't Fatal Push Lord of the Accursed yet. Hold on. Make this a creature. Don't think there's any reason to let this live. But yeah, I would have won if I blocked with the Anointer Priest. Still in good shape, but the game would just be over. Whereas now the game is interesting. I'm far ahead, but can't actually put it away right now. Worth noting how bad Dusk to Dawn would be on this board. Front half, kill Scrap Heap Scrounger. Back half, get back Catacomb Sifter. Whoa. That's not a good sign. That means Dark Salvation, probably. Yep, that was bad for me. This is interesting. Probably bad. Or probably not great. But given that my opponent's at 1, making 1/1s isn't bad. It's not super easy for my opponent to attack into Shambling Vent. And I do have the mana to do both. So it's probably just Scrounger attacking unless my opponent draws something. Since they can't really attack with everything. Whoa. Alright. Does this mean you have something? Because sacking a zombie to push 2 damage doesn't seem very good. Well, I like that that doesn't draw any cards. Interesting. Very interesting. Cryptolithite obviously means that I'm actually pretty close to using both Westphales. No attacks just yet. So obviously now we're looking at making Ormandal to get over these blockers. was a pretty sweet game. Obviously I should have just won it earlier by blocking with the priest when I mentioned, but still a pretty fun ending.